Some of the first steps that a company should take when they're trying to address the end of XP situation is one, to inventory the assets that they have that need to be migrated to Windows 7 or some other newer operating system. Really, you have to understand what you have before you can figure out how to solve the problem.
Everyone ends up with files, documents, programs, and other data on their computers that they really don't need. And when you upgrade, you get that second chance to, really have a clean slate and start over.
It's really get your ducks in a row, start planning, and make the migration as soon as possible.
It's a long process. It's longer than people realize. There's a lot of tweaking. There's a lot of driver support. There's a lot of things that have to be done, and it's a lot of trial and error. But once you make those changes, once you make those tweaks and correct the drivers that need to be corrected and so forth, then you do start seeing a lot more productivity, because the later operating system, Windows 7, is built to match up with higher running processors and more efficient technology from a hardware perspective.
When considering a new Windows 7 platform, you really want to take into consideration what your expectations are for the system. You want to consider price versus performance, and you want to consider, just what it is you're going to be doing with the system and how much horsepower you need.
A lot of times now, hardware is bundled with a Windows 7 license, which does make it more cost effective. 9 times out of 10, they may have purchased it with a Windows 7 license and simply downgraded to Windows XP for organizational compatibility purposes, meaning that they can perform the upgrade to Windows 7 without the purchase of a new license, and that the hardware will more than likely support the enhanced requirements that Windows 7 dictates.
Companies that are migrating from Windows XP to Windows 7, they have typically done that in a test environment. They set up systems that obviously mimic their application and what they provide to their customers, and then they run that through lots of different variations of tests. Different customers have different ways of deploying the application, and they do that to ensure that they've built enough test cases, they've got enough information that allows them to thoroughly test the system with the new hardware, with the new operating system.